My name is Isha Datar. I'm Executive Director of New Harvest. New Harvest is a 501c3 that supports public academic research in cellular agriculture. All of our research is funded by individuals and foundations. 10 years ago, my poultry science professor introduced me to the idea that we could grow meat from animal cell cultures, and I've been intrigued and excited by this idea ever since. As we've moved over generations from extensive to intensive agricultural production systems to create more food from less land, it seemed obvious to me that the next step for food technology would be farming cells instead of whole animals. And because this particular type of intensification removes the need for whole, complex organisms, I suspect that producing meat from animal cell culture rather than whole animals could result in fewer viral epidemics, fewer threats to food security, and fewer externalized costs to environment, public health, and animal welfare. Potential benefits aside, there are clearly many unknowns about producing meat from animal cell culture technology, and it is of utmost importance that the oversight, hazards, and controls of this technology are well understood to ensure consumer safety. I've dedicated my career to this work because I believe this transformative technology is inevitable. However, I want to ensure that it enters society in the most responsible way possible, so it's very exciting to be here today. Overall, I believe there are already frameworks in place from food and drug manufacturing that could assess and manage many of the risks associated with this technology. However, these existing frameworks come from both food and drug manufacturing, and there may be differences in the intended use and the route of exposure of the products evaluated by these existing frameworks and the intended use and route of exposure for a cell-cultured meat. Further, while the frameworks may cover several processes for cell-based meat production, I'm not sure they can cover all future processes, given that there are so many opportunities for novel innovation in the development of cell-based meat production processes. The bringing together of the USDA and FDA for this conversation is thematic of what this field needs. It is inherently interdisciplinary. We need to bring together animal scientists and cell biologists to derive the initial cell lines. We need material scientists to develop scaffolds. We need biochemists to develop the serum-free media, and we need bioprocess engineers to develop the bioreactor systems. We also need meat scientists to understand how this engineered muscle tissue becomes meat. One theme from yesterday's science board meeting was noting the lack of specific experience and concrete data in this space, as well as a need for learning by doing. The basis of good governance and good regulation is informed by evidence and peer-reviewed research. Federally funded research is an important part of this equation. Perhaps because of the novelty of this work, or perhaps because it pulls from areas of science that have not crossed paths before, this research has not received meaningful federal support. The majority for research in the production of cell-based meats has come from venture capital-funded companies or philanthropy-funded research organizations like New Harvest. These funding streams have definitely brought the field to this point. However, for this technology to be fully, safely realized, not just as a product but as a new paradigm for food production, we will need to see more support for academic, peer-reviewed research. Perhaps the identification and support of research initiatives that would both equip regulators and minimize burden on innovators could be an important first step for the FDA, USDA, and perhaps the NIH and NSF to work together with the cell-based meat industry. My organization, New Harvest, as the primary funder of academic research in this space to date, with much experience designing interdisciplinary research efforts, would be a keen collaborator and resource in moving this forward. Thank you.